Hey, Road Warriors and Care Crew. Welcome to the Care in Motion podcast, the new home for the home health clinician. We're going to talk through stories and tips around safety, efficiency, clinical issues, and career pathways, all from the perspective of a few road warriors just like yourself to provide their insight. Our goal here is that you'll find this weekly podcast helpful, relatable, and interesting, but most importantly, wildly entertaining during your daily drive. Welcome, everybody, to the weekly Care in Motion podcast. I am here today with Dan and Lisa. We've got an exciting episode planned.
Hey, everybody.
Very excited. Before we get started, I do have to share that I am just coming downstairs from a small surgery at my own house. My daughter had to get a mouth expander. Have you guys heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my first experience with this. So we had to watch a video and stick this flashlight in her mouth and start to crank this screw to expand her mouth. And I'm just like, this is why I was not clinically cut out. Because even that for me was like, okay, I've got to leave. We're going to do the podcast.
Sorry, gotta go.
Oh, man.
But I'm super excited about this episode. We had talked about, a couple of different things that topics that we wanted to discuss. And this one is exciting for me because I am in the presence of celebrity today.
I don't know about that one.
but both of you have started your journey years ago on social media and amassed quite a following. And we thought this would be a fun little interview just to kind of chat through what that journey's been like, and then kind of post some of the best of clips as well that we've seen over the period of time. So just kind of wondering like how it all began. Dan, I'll start with you. So, hopefully everyone that's listening to this knows that you've got kind of your alter ego as well, but what got you into this?
So yeah, you want the short or the long story? No, I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna. I think I'll start exactly with how the social media thing began. So I mean, before I even did healthcare stuff, like I always kind of enjoyed making light of situations and making people laugh a bit. This goes back like years, but it all started, it was in April, it was a couple of years ago, and I was doing 2 startup cares on a weekend. And this is when I was like weighted under my laptop in my car, like in a parking lot, just like pounding it out. Anyone who's done a startup care knows there's like, you can be like efficient like Superman, but like startup cares, there is just a lot of documentation, right? And there it is, a beautiful day, and I'm just like, like the meme from like Jim Carrey and whatever that movie that is, just like going like a mile a minute. And I look out the window, I'm like, I have to make fun of this ridiculousness because it is taking me forever. So like I'm 3 hours in, you know what I mean? It's like I started. Thank God things have become more efficient since then. So I'm like, so I just propped my phone on the car window, and I'm like, and I basically did my first clip ever for healthcare. And I wrote basically a day in the life of a home care clinician, right? And I had been posting like piano stuff prior to that and this and that. Well, I had posted it that night, and it got 4,000 views and like a bunch of shares. And I was like, nice. Oh my gosh, like this resonated with people. It was so wild. I'm like, and that's really one of those stories where that's kind of how it was born. And, I was like, I had about 1 million ideas in my head about healthcare stuff, like if people really are going to watch, and that's when, so then Rose was like the next video. And I'm just like, because the way that Rose began is like, my wife is a PT too. We went to PT school together, University of Hartford, graduated together. And anytime we would come home from work, like I'd be like, how was your day? She's like, well, this happened. And she's like, how was your day? I'm like, well, first it was the heat, then it was the humidity. All my patients were so upset about this and that, and I was just like, use that voice. I mean, it's just my weird thing, like that's what I've been doing for like probably 2 decades. And so, then I started posting a couple videos and people liked it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this has to stay. I think Rose has to stay. And the funniest part was, I did my first video and I had not really thought about, okay, this is what this person's name is going to be. And this is, but it just so happens that my grandmother's name, she's been gone for 20 years, was Rose. And So that was my nanny. And my papa, her husband, was Salvatore. Rose and Salvatore. And, since then, that's been the deal. So it's been a really cool little journey so that's how it began.
I love that. I love that. I always wonder where that voice came from. I'm like, how?
just me being weird. That's all.
That's great. Lisa, what about the Home Health Chronicles? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so mine is not as exciting as Dan's, I don't think, but I probably about 4 years ago, I'd been in home health a couple of years and then just moved. And I would be on Instagram a lot and I would follow people like acute care rehab and inpatient rehab memes and some of the outpatient therapists. I'm like, there really isn't anybody representing home health out there on Instagram. I would type in, home health. I'm not getting anything. And I liked looking at all of the memes because it kind of made, there were a lot of physical therapy memes, but I'm like, there's nothing for home health. And I'm like, everything that I do on a day-to-day basis is like, you can kind of make light of in a sense, and you're out there by yourself. And I'm like, there's so many other people out there and they've got to relate to this, right? Because I always tell people, they're like, oh, you're so relatable. It's like, well, yeah, because I'm in the trenches with you guys too. Like, this is my full-time job. This is what I do day in and day out. And we all have the same struggles with difficult patients and scheduling and all of these things. But so I was like, there's nothing out there. Why don't I just create some memes? I am the opposite of Dan. I find myself to be very shy. I am an introvert. I'm not that funny. I'm not like a funny person. And I was like, well, whatever. I'll just give, but I do just kind of jump in, dive in head first to things. I'm like, all right, I have an idea. Let's just do it. So I started just making some memes and got some likes and people are like, oh yeah, this is funny. And it just kind of grew from there of, turning in, you just start getting better. And I'm like, great, now I have to figure out how to make videos and edit things. I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff, but I guess I'll just figure it out. And it kind of grew into what it's been. And so, yeah, that's my story.
So when you come across a video that is like of a bunch, and I thought it was rats at first and it freaked me out, but the one you did this week, I think it was this week or last, was a bunch of squirrels underneath
jumping out. This person lifts something up and all these bugs and rats jump out. Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. What makes you so are you just like kind of scrolling and you see a video and you're like, oh my gosh, this relates to my day?
Yeah, usually I'll see either a meme or a video or something like that. I'm like, can I relate this to home health? And with that one, I'm like, how does this relate? I'm like, oh, these are things that have actually happened to me. I'm like, I have picked up an admission folder before and a cockroach has scurried out, And so I'm like, this has to have happened to somebody else. So I'm like, oh, I can just make a quick little thing. Yeah, right. It's how you pick up something in the house, whatever you're doing with it, like their coffee cup or moving things, the table, and something's going to come crawling out. But I am not the best plan. Like most of the things that I post are something that just had happened to me. And I'm like, oh, I can meme this. And I'm like memeing from my patient's driveway, like putting it together. And then I'll post it or I'll save it for later in the afternoon. But
I also like the one where you were reading like the confessions and I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. I've been trying to start like a home health happenings and I was like, where can I record this? I'll do it from my car because that's where I spend most of my time because I have posted a lot of like surveys or anonymous confessions. There's a link that people can send in anonymous replies. And I really have no idea who sent these things in. And it's probably good because on one of my recent ones, like, that's Medicare fraud. You probably shouldn't be doing that. But some of the things that people send in are just wild. Like I usually don't get shocked. We've seen it all, but some of them.
What's the worst one?
She's like, I can't say that.
Well, it's anonymous.
I can actually say it on here because I know it's one, but it's one where a clinician was helping a patient with a shower and he did some very inappropriate things.
Oh my God. And he like commented anonymously and just wanted to get this. Maybe this is like that thing where it's like you feel better, like you've cleaned yourself, like, oh, okay, I got it out there. My Lord.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, what was your, I mean, you've been doing this for a while. What's been your favorite so far of everything that you've been posting? I'd love to play for everybody the
Oh,
best
well,
of hits of
I
roast.
mean, people who follow me know that, like, and this is probably where like Facebook's algorithm has probably taken forever to figure me out because I'm like funny, I'm serious, I'm like educational, and it's like, for a minute, and I was like, Dan, like, should you just like stick to comedy? And it never, I had to, like, it's like in my being where I'm like, because it's just the way that I am and the way that we are as people. Like, listen, yeah, I love making people laugh, but I also really love teaching and stuff, and I really love motivating and stuff. So I would say my favorite part has been kind of like a combination of all of it. But similar to Lisa, like what I'll do, I mean, this is the stuff that like I'll go to bed and I'm like my head's on the pillow. I'm like, oh, this is a good idea, and I have a phone list, where I
Me
just
too.
and
Me
I just
too.
have my content. Every time I think of something, I add it to my list
Hmm.
because that's the way our brains work. And if you watch a lot of my recent content, I mean, a lot of stuff is from the seat of my car and my burgundy scrubs because that's how I spend my life. And as far as my funniest, I don't know. There's been I just recently introduced a new like precepting a new clinician last week with this dude with this ridiculous mullet. And that's been fun. People liked that character a bit, so that was fun.
I was gonna say that's the like precepting someone about missed visits is hilarious. You're like, oh, we have to notify the doctor that it's a missed visit. Well, why do we have to do that? Because it's a missed visit, but they don't care. But they're not
Yeah,
doing this. It's like these
even if you're
rules,
going
they
to
just don't make sense. But
yeah,
you have to
and
do
even if
them.
you're going to see the doctor and that's the reason you're missing this, yeah. And then they both just laugh. They finish laughing like like I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, of course, recently my wife met you guys, virtually, and she's not in home health at all, and so I had shared with her one of Dan's videos, and it was the one where Rose is in the chair coming down at like it was probably I think it was from a couple of years ago. I think it was like
That
from
is
one, yeah.
That was one of my. There's a cool story about that one. Like there was a time where I was like doing all my. So I was playing the piano. That the background was me playing the piano. Like that was my piece. So like that piece took me. Like the whole skit took me a long time because there's a lot of different angles. I had to have my daughter holding a hose to make it look like it was raining. Like that was so much fun.
It's just watching her slowly come down the stairs while you're
Yeah,
outside. I'm like,
yeah,
that was a great one. Well, Lisa, it looks like you've shifted too into like you mentioned, like more educational. And I know you did a podcast for a while. I
Mhm.
before we ever met, I'd listened to that because it's like and I think we're pretty much the only podcast. Like I've searched a ton, and it's like you
There's-
can't find anything out there. And I'm like, okay, everybody's got to be like kind of in their cars, wondering, is there anything that relates to what I
Mhm.
do? And so
Mhm.
this was probably 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whenever it was. And so how do you get into the podcast piece of it?
Again, just like a random thought that pops into my mind. I'm like, oh, there's no podcasts out there. I could make a podcast, even though I have no time to be doing this on my own. And so I'm like, all right. So I sign up for Spotify and try and figure out. I have no experience on any like podcast recording devices. And I just reached out to people that follow me and say, hey, who wants to be a guest? And I would have scripts like written on the notepad in my phone and just send it out. And I'd be up in our, upstairs bedroom, like on my phone, trying to figure it out. But I kind of switched a little bit to that too with, we have the memes and the funny stuff, but then once there's more people involved, you can really have like a sense of community and you can actually start posting. I mean, not that you can't before, but there are educational things that you can post or I mean, my page is usually a little bit more on the not like the Debbie Downer side, but the like worse part of home health. I'm like, I can post some positive things every now and then, but yeah. So I got the podcast, but I just couldn't do it by myself. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy to be on this podcast and with having more support and people to bounce ideas off of and have guests and really get some more beneficial information out there that people can listen to, but also still keep it fun.
Yeah. And speaking of, you mentioned community, and that always resonates with me a little bit. But like, have you guys do you feel like your followers and the people that interact with you, are you starting to get to like, are there certain people that you just kind of are expecting? Yeah, Dan, tell me about that. I've always been
So
intrigued by that.
I think that's a great question. I think that's the reason why I keep going is the sense of community. I mean, what's so interesting about social media, you've never physically met these people, but my gosh, like the amount of people that reach out and say stuff like, you know what, we played your stuff at the beginning of our meeting because we needed to lighten the mood, or just other people like, I needed to hear that today. Like, thank you for sharing, or I needed this laugh. Thank you for making me laugh. Like the amount of times, and that's the beautiful thing about social media. I mean, it is community, and so getting those responses is what kind of keeps the wind under my wings. Just like keep going. Like this is, people like this, people want it, people need it. Because especially a topic such as healthcare, which is so serious, like it's okay to laugh, it's okay to lighten the mood, and to have fun.
Yeah.
Because you need it, everything can't just be so serious and structured all day long. Like I need an outlet in a sense. That's also why, going back to starting my page, is I needed a place to almost like vent to, and for where other people would understand. And especially in the home health field, is you don't really have coworkers. I mean, you do, but you don't. Right. And you don't get in, like, you're not talking about the nitty gritty. If I'm talking to my coworker, it's, hey, what are we doing for this patient? Are you going to see them? Like, what do you think? But it's not like, oh, like the traffic today was awful, or this person did this. And that was, you don't have someone you can kind of vent to. So I kind of found that outlet with my social media, and other people would reach out as well. Same like you, Dan, is saying, hey, I really related to that, or, oh, like you totally get me, or that happened to me today too. Like I thought I was the only one. It's like, because you don't know what other clinicians are doing, right? Because you're not with them. So when we bring that side of it, people know like they're not alone. And I think that's really too what we can bring together with Care in Motion, is this sense of community for home health to have.
Right. It's funny. So the way that I had found you guys before we'd ever even met, this was probably over a year ago, and I was we had just finished. I was with one of our clinical directors in Florida, and our operations manager. We were at dinner, and I was just talking about the concept of Care in Motion, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you got to check out. You know what you should do? You should reach out, to the Home Health Chronicles, and then." There's this other guy, Dan, and he does this Rose, and I've been so it's like there's all these people out there that you guys have never even met or even thought about that know about you, and it's like that is their sort of outlet and their relief valve for like just dealing with everything that's like a day in the life.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
Kind of crazy to think about. I don't know if you get that, Dan, too. And I'm like, man, are people like kind of interested in what I have to say, or they're laughing at something that I made, like who am I? But
yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting. Like when I'll get people from Hawaii or Alaska or Minnesota and reaching out and saying, "Hey, we shared your this missed visit, cancellation, reel at the beginning of our meeting." They're like, "Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yes, like share whatever you want. That's fantastic." I want to ask you, so the funniest thing was I was at a soccer game last year, and I swear my daughter's playing soccer, and someone comes up and they're like, "Rose, is that you?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, someone recognized me at a soccer game." I had never met her. And then in Costco, same thing. They're like, "What's going on?" I'm not surprised you're at Costco. I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, can I take a picture?
Surprised you're at Costco.
Can I take a picture? I was like, "Yeah, let's go." I'm like, let me hold myself and nuts up.
Yeah.
So
Do you
funny.
keep the wig on you just so you can throw it on at any given point in time?
I've only like recently, I've had my Instagram for a long time, but haven't really ever kind of put myself out there in a sense until like the last couple months, really. So I know I have a lot of followers that are like in Austin, and actually have ran into some people I've had talked to before who work at a different company. We actually work in the same building, right? We go to the same assisted living facility. I passed by, I was like, should I, like, is that you? Like, I don't know, right? Because I don't know if it's you,
Oh,
because I've
that's
never
cool.
met you and I don't know what you look like besides
Yeah.
your profile picture. But so I'll be curious to see if that ever happens, but I don't know.
Do the folks at your individual agencies, I mean, are they like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I've listened to, I mean, do you talk about it, or is it just sort of like, just a day in the life? Is it even addressed?
For me, it is, and it's like you kind of have to like. I walk into the office and like, I don't know. It's really funny. I mean, you're an employee there, but like one of my coworkers is like, I can't wait till you make it big and then you're out of here. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I love it. But no, it's hilarious. Like my own company, like, yeah, like they tell me that they enjoy it and stuff, and it's been fun.
But at the same time, you kind of have to be careful, because you're like, you don't, you're like, wait, was he talking about us?
Exactly. And that's why, I mean, honestly, like that's why I edit the heck out of every one of my reels, because number one, I don't wear my badge or anything in my, because I'm never going to disrespect or say anything negative about my company. And I don't. And I also have to be super careful about just the healthcare field altogether, about being like pretty considerate and respectful and not like demeaning. Right. So it's like, yes, you can make light of stuff, but you also have to be like fairly respectful when you're doing it. So when I look at it that way, I like to every single reel that I publish feel like, you know what, I don't think that's going to be hurtful to anyone. And I don't think it's going to be disrespectful to anyone. So I can walk in and talk to my boss and hopefully not have it feel bad. I mean, listen, there was one, I mean, I posted something recently about, it was like a meme of me, like in an airplane being like, things I would be doing if I got my PTO approved for April break, because I was like super like bitter because I wanted to go to Florida on April break and it was denied. So it's like, do I have to be super careful about stuff like that? I mean, listen, I'm a human being who would have liked to be in Florida. It was denied. These are the things that happen when you work for a corporation in healthcare. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And but it's not like I'm like bad mouthing anyone. So
yeah.
And I keep my company like out of. I don't talk about who I work for. I don't know if the like managers or anybody know what I do or not. I have had some coworkers that like a while ago when I didn't have myself really on my Instagram, I posted like one picture and the nurse texted me like, oh my gosh, are you like Home Health Chronicles? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I've been following you for a long time. And then I had somebody like when I started posting my videos recently, and we actually did a visit with her like the week before. We did kind of a co-treat visit where we sent this patient to the ER together. And she emailed me like the next week being like, is this you? Like, we've been following you forever. My daughter and I have been following you. So I have a few, yeah.
That must be
I don't
crazy.
know.
Well, it's like the other day we were looking at where this podcast is being downloaded, and we're like, who is listening in South America and Asia? It's just one of those. I guess it's just the power of the internet. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got to hear some of those stories. We're going to end with a few of our favorite clips, and in the meantime, make sure to go to careandmotion.co. You can see the entire collection of all of our podcasts, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And check out the Care and Motion shop as well, right off the careandmotion.co. So thank you guys for being with us today, Dan and Lisa. It was great to hear kind of the story behind the scenes.
Thank you. And we appreciate everybody.
Yeah,
I know I do. I really appreciate everybody that DMs me and follows me and everything. So
same here. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So it's a beautiful thing, and yeah, we love you.
And thank you for like making everybody laugh. We need more of that. So
yes, more laughter.
Yes. Well, until next time, everybody have a great day, productive week, and we will see you next time.